Hey everyone, welcome to Prism, the consumer product intelligence hub. First off, let's kick it off with the user personas. We split the users into two different segments, the power user and the business user. As expected, the business user, we abstract out all the technicalities and give them all the information they need in an easy to access format with very limited tabs, but gives them all they need for a day-to-day use case. The power user, on the other hand, as you can imagine, has access to the whole suite of explainability, model building, and all the other capabilities of the tool. Now, let's kick it off with the data extraction. I'll stick with the power user for now as we run through this demo. On the data extraction page, we allow the users to upload two kinds of information. One, the promotional PDFs, which is nothing but the redemption information which we receive as a bill back from our customers, explaining to us how much we paid for every promotion. And then also the sellout information, which tells us about how our sales performed week on week, product by product in the store. The way this would work is a user would go ahead and upload the PDFs and then click on process promotion batch, which would basically send each of these PDFs to an LLM to extract the table information and all the metadata for the given promotion. What that translates into is this table of extracted data, which contains by product, how many redeemed units, the cost, and the different kinds of tactics that were used, and the date on which it ran. And you can use this to audit it against the actual PDF. On the CSV side, again, you can go ahead, upload a CSV file, which contains, like I mentioned, all the extracted sales information week on week. And we also run a process of actually going ahead and enriching the dataset with exogenous variables, which helps the model learn those patterns. One of the key features in our tool is by using a dropdown on the top, we can select a retailer and every single information is cached at that moment. That means you do not have to repeat this process time and time again, which helps save time. With that, we'll move on to the diagnostics tab. Now for the modeling layer. We run two fundamentally different algorithms on the same data. First, LightGBM, a gradient boosted decision tree, which we're all well used to. You can see strong R-squares, MAPEs, and RMSEs. Again, we also plot the actual versus predicted, the feature importances, and the residual distribution. Now let's look at something more novel, the TAP-PFM 2.5. This is a prior fitted network, essentially a transformer that was pre-trained on millions of synthetic datasets. The key advantage, zero hyperparameter tuning. You feed it data and it produces predictions in a one-shot model. Essentially a numeric foundation model for predictions, beating some of the SOTA models in terms of accuracy for smaller datasets. And as we can see, we also plot all the different KPIs for this model. We also have a model comparison tab where we compare all of these models. And as you can see in this use case, TAP-PFM comes up ahead in all the metrics. Again, we plot the actual versus predicted and the residuals distribution in order for power user to actually make sure everything looks accurate. With that, let's move into the next tab, which is the causal analysis. All right, causal inference. We all know correlation is not equal to causation. And that's why we use double machine learning in order to answer the question, what is the true causal effect? We use something known as AIT, which is average treatment effect, to figure out what is the true incremental uplift by product when a promotion is run, and whether it's significant enough at that. We also have an explainability tab, where we jump and use the SHAP features in order to explain by variable what the impact looks like in terms of the unit uplift. Base price goes down, your sales go up, and vice versa. And we do that across all the different variables and across both the models in order to make sure nothing's off. We also have counterfactuals using DICE, where we can basically figure out what is the smallest change we need to perform in order to get the desired uplift, which means when we hit, it'll give us a suggestion such as running a 43% off or a 25% TPR in order to achieve our results. Also, it provides you what the estimated cost of running that specific promotion would be. And all of this, at the end of the day, lets us debug the model and make sure the results it's giving us makes business sense. And with that, we move into the actual meat of the tool, which is the business planning. All right, now on the strategy planning. The first tab we're going to look at is promo simulation, where you can select the model you want to work with, the weeks which you want to simulate over, the different products, and the stores which you want to look at. and then run the simulation. What this gives you is, by different promotions, what the expected uplift would be, and the financial breakdown for it. As you can see, BOGO drives a lot of uplift, but at a huge cost with low ROI. Much better to run a TPR at a much lower cost with very similar uplifts. These are the kind of answers which helps the CD teams on the ground decide what promotion to run next. But we take all of this and go one step further onto the promo grid optimizer. This is where everything comes into play together, where the user can again select the model, the store, set a spend that he has as a budget, the weeks that he wants to run the promotion on, and then also have all of these different configurations in terms of how much your minimum ROI needs to be, whether you can run a promotion on consecutive weeks, and so on. So setting this up really quickly, I'm saying only 2 weeks at a row, and then also increase the budget a bit in this case, and we can select the number of weeks we want to run over, and all you got to do is click generate optimal grid. And what this does is it creates the grid for this given product, tells you exactly which promotion to run on which week by respecting all the different constraints you have on top, what your ROI looks like, what your predicted units, all the technicality taken out of it. This, at the end of the day, lets the planner really save time and plan their calendar based on facts and figures rather than intuition. And we wouldn't have a tool in today's world without an LLM on top of all of it. And that's what we're going to look at next. And finally, we tie all of this back together with a RAG-based model over all the information from our tool, and which lets the user basically interact with the tool in natural language and ask questions such as, which promo type gives the highest uplift? And as expected, within a few seconds, you get a response which is very easy to interpret and in natural human language. We also have a summary dashboard meant for the executive team. This is meant to give a very high overview of the market. So this is the one-stop shop if you want to get a lowdown on what's going on in the market in a very quick and easy to ingest format. We're talking about the market snapshot, what the model's telling us, how effective the promotions are, strategic recommendations, risk and watch items. We also provide really high-level breakdowns of the volumes, the units, weekly sales trends, baselines versus promos, also a breakdown of which promotion ran on which week to give a very visual understanding of how your promotions are performing in the market. And with this, we come to the end of the tool, which is a one-stop solution for the CD teams to execute promotions better. Thank you.